Hey guys, hope you're having a good night. We're going to start talking about properties of logarithms. Something you should know about logarithms. If you remember this little mantra or saying, it'll help you remember what a logarithm is. So a logarithm, I'm going to write it over here. A logarithm is an exponent. That's what a logarithm is. A logarithm is an exponent. So keep that in mind. Properties of logarithms. The first property we're going to look at is when we have log base b of something times something else. So we're multiplying these together. What you can do is you can split it up into addition. So we can do log base b of u plus log base b of v. So we can go from this to this, or if we're adding logarithms, we can go from 2 logarithms, as long as the bases are the same, down to 1 logarithm by multiplying the argument. So whatever you're taking the log of is known as the argument. Okay? And down here, of course, we said this is the base. Okay, so second property. Now, if we're dividing, if the argument is being divided, you can break that down into subtraction of 2 logs with the same base as the original. And the third property is when you have a logarithm and it's raised to an exponent. So the argument is raised to an exponent. This property allows you to take that exponent and bring it down in front as multiplication. So we would bring the n down front of the logarithm and have multiplication. So n times the log base b of u. Now this also works with natural logarithms. Now I haven't talked about natural logs yet, but a natural log of some argument, okay? We use natural logs when our base is e. And we talked about e just recently. And so whenever you have a base e, we can use natural logarithms. We'll talk more about this a little bit later, but the same rules apply. Natural log natural log base e of this would be natural log base e of u plus natural log base b of v. So that might have confused you a little bit, but we'll talk about that more a little bit later. Okay, so let's apply some of these properties. So for example, let's say that we have the log base 7 of 6 plus the log base 7 of 3. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to rewrite this from 2 logarithms. We want to rewrite it as 1 logarithm. So here's your clue. It's addition. So we go up here and find addition. Okay, and to write it as 1 logarithm, we multiply the arguments together. So we're going to have log base 7. We're rewriting from 2 down to 1, multiplying the arguments together. That would be 6 times 3. And that would give us log base 7 of 18. So when adding logs, you multiply the arguments to condense it down to one logarithm. Okay, let's look at another example. This time we have log base 3 of 10 minus log base 3 of 2. So here's your clue. Subtraction. So we go up here to the property, we look over here, and it tells us to divide the arguments. So condensing it down from 2 down to one logarithm. Remember, the base has to stay the same. We have 10 divided by 2, which is log base 3 of 5. Okay, let's look at the third property. And let's say we have 5 log base 2 of 3. Okay, so what we want to do here is we have some number times a logarithm. So here it is. So we have some number times a logarithm. So we want to go from this to this. So where does that number go? That's correct. It goes up on top of the argument as an exponent. So rewriting this one, we would have log base 2 of 3 to the 5th power. Okay, rewriting that, we have log base 2, and let me get my handy dandy calculator going here. And we have 3 raised to the 5th power, 243. And that's how we apply these properties. Now let's take a look at a longer example. So let's say we have log base, let's do base 10, because when you're in base 10, you actually don't have to put a 10 down here. It's assumed to be there. So let's do log of 25, okay, minus log of 5 plus log of 2, and let's put a 3 on the front of this thing. So we have multiple things going on here. We have subtraction, addition, and we have multiplication. So my suggestion is that you take care of multiplication first. So the first step is, since we're multiplying, if you'll recall that the number in the front goes up on top of the of the argument. Okay, so the 3 is going to go up on the 2. Okay, now we can simplify that. That would be 2 times 2 times 2, which would be 8. So we'd have log of 8 right here. So next thing we want to do with adding and subtracting, we go from left to right. So we're going to go ahead and subtraction. We divide the arguments. So we're going to have the log of 25 divided by 5, which is 5, plus the log of 8. And then adding, we multiply the arguments, so we get the log of 40. And that would be your answer. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and stop the video right there. And I'll see you guys in class soon.